Hey guys, welcome to the first game of Division 4. This is going to be game 1 between HasuObs and SeleCT. Definite German players. Speaking of Germans, I have Kalendor alongside. It is exciting to have him here. This is going to be on Tal'Darim Altar. Extremely excited to have him alongside for NASL commentating really fast as the map gets started.
Hey guys, how you doing?
And we have him on Skype, so if we have any audio delays, we apologize ahead of time. We're glad just to have him in call. Upper right-hand corner, we have SeleCT starting as the blue Terran. Upper left-hand corner, we have HasuObs starting as the yellow Protoss. And again, Kalendor, it's great to have you alongside.
Yeah, thanks again. Thanks for having me. And, well, this is going to be a really nice match. I mean, the Terran versus Pros matchup is really nice on Tal'Darim Altar. I actually think that the map is a little bit different. It's a little bit different if you have a Zerg player on the map. But for a TVP, it's a great map. And HasuObs already mentioned early on that this is the version where you have 2 gas at the third base, which actually favors Protoss maybe a little bit. As for Protoss, it's really hard to normally hard to get a third base with 2 gas early on. So Hasu was really pleased to see that.
Yeah, has the third gas. Still has limited minerals, though, which I think makes really interesting 3-base play. Still long macroeconomic sort of style, and can lead to sort of those longer, stretched-out matches. But at the same time, you can't just sit on 3 bases. You can't win the match just off 3-base play. You do need to start pressuring and going out and taking map control and actually engage your opponent's army, which I like to see.
Yeah, HasuObs already told me earlier, and I saw him play that in some other tournaments as well, that he wants to rely on a gate-heavy unit mix once again. So lately he was discussing with some other German players, as Soccer for example, and Insolence, that as a Protoss you really have a problem if you go too Colossi heavy, as the Terran player can just drop you left and right, can drop you at your expansion, can drop you on your main base, and therefore you're always on the run. But if you rely on gateway-heavy units, as for example Charged Zealots as well as Blink Stalker, you are much more flexible in order to deal with that. And HasuObs tends to even tech later on to DTs, for example. He likes to mix it up a little bit and just add 1 or 2 Colossi, if so at all.
Although we might see an aggressive start from SeleCT. Oh, looked like he had burrowed that supply depot for just a half second. He might lose this SCV versus this probe to start. Looks like that probe is going to back off and looking for an opportunity to sneak in. Not quite able to, just getting blocked off. And SeleCT, it's very interesting, opting to actually seal off his front door. Marine incoming, and HasuObs needs to get that probe out of there immediately.
Yeah, in the meantime, the Protoss player is just adding a cybernetics core, so producing the first Zealot as we speak, and scouting himself once again, trying to deny the scout of his opponent, just getting a short electroshock at the SCV. And SeleCT had a little bit of luck as well, scouting his opponent, so he was basically with luck as he scouted him on the top left and didn't scout at the bottom right first. And now the next gateway is up for HasuObs.
It's kind of interesting, this play, though. SeleCT blocking off his front door, denying information, but at the same time it looks like he's going into a fast expansion build, has planted that command center at his natural, still hasn't taken a gas, and staging some Marines forward to try to block off any additional scouting. I like this play. It might throw HasuObs off. Looks like he's trying to cycle back around with that probe. He's keeping it in proximity, but having difficulty getting any sort of read on his opponent. In the meantime, looks like that Zealot trying to chase that SCV down, who's getting an eyeful of information. But you do have that gateway hidden to the north, and I don't think SeleCT is in fact seeing it.
And in the meantime, the Terran player added both gas, so early on he just focused on minerals a little bit. And I'm really surprised. I would have expected him to add a second barracks way earlier if he goes for a fast expansion. So he's still building that command center, is relying on 1 barrack so far, took both gas, and HasuObs is just scouting a little bit once again and moving out with the Zealot as well as the Sentry, and will go for another gate pretty soon and try to get this expansion up and running as well.
Yeah, this is a very interesting play. I like SeleCT putting down both bunkers. He's going to need them because he's going to be so light on early game units going up against going up against HasuObs, because when you tech on those additional gas and you tech hard, you're going to have a big gap where you just don't have any sort of just infantry to work with. In the meantime, HasuObs, with a little bit of an attack force pressing forward, still hasn't been able to really kill that SCV. It doesn't look like SeleCT is going to see this incoming, but he should be okay as long as he pulls off some SCVs offline to repair these bunkers. Plenty of Marines on the front door. 2 bunkers should be pretty solid.
And HasuObs just warped in 2 more Stalkers at the top of the map. He has placed a pylon and is just waiting to just put a little bit of pressure on the entrance to the second base of his opponent. So Select is ready with his orbital command, so he can call down 2 mules. And HasuObs just adding his Nexus at his own expansion, whereas the Terran player is adding a starport and his first attack lab. Probably going to switch this factory with a starport as soon as possible in order to get some Hellions out and get a decent harass to put HasuObs a little bit under pressure.
Yeah, I really like what Select did as well. He kept that SCV around. It's just now been killed, but he had all of that scouting information in the meantime, saw the Nexus, got a really good look at the entirety of the base, saw the amount of assimilators that were taken, basically has all the information he really wanted to work with, tacking on a 3rd gas, and he's going very, very tech-heavy to follow this up. You've got a factory, siege tanks building, as well as Banshees for Select, so, and additionally getting another barracks in the corner, so it looks like he's almost going into a modified 1-1-1, and I can't even call it that, because he's tacking on that barracks in that back corner. So very odd opening and a very interesting tech switch here from Select.
Yeah, and HasuObs might be in a lot of trouble if he leaves him too much time with that, because as soon as those tanks get a siege, he can't approach the second base of his opponent. And he himself is just relying on his second base, and as I said already earlier, HasuObs is going to play with a lot of gates as well as the Twilight Council, which I expect really soon, as soon as he took the gas at his expansion. And he's adding the Forge in his main base right now, whereas the Terran player is just going for some more tanks, and is adding an engineering bay as well. So he can place a missile turret as well at the entrance to his second base, which, for example, casted when he was facing HasuObs, and HasuObs, as I already mentioned earlier, is relying on DTs later on, so that will help Select quite a lot. In the first game against Cass just a week ago, HasuObs was able to kill off the Terran player with the DTs because he had no attraction whatsoever, so that's really smart by Select.
Yeah, I like Select's decision to go Banshee first. A very lucky pylon spot there from HasuObs. That I don't know if I want to call it luck or skill, having it along the path of that Banshee, able to scout it and able to deny some information. But at the same time, knowing that Banshee's out there, what this is going to do is this is going to force HasuObs to stay a little bit more defensive at this stage of the match, while Select is building another command center and additionally teching up. So I like the decision to go this, getting that reactor down. Looks like he's going to go a bit more heavy infantry based. He's added on some more, looks like he's getting a reactor, some tech labs, some marauders out in the field. So transitioning to more of a standard Terran composition after kind of an unstable opening. But I gotta say, yeah, really well played from both players. I think it's taking shape to be a very interesting match.
And right now the Banshee was able to kill the pylon built by HasuObs to warp in some additional units. And HasuObs built one robotics facility. He has to react to the pressure of the Terran player. He has to react to the Banshee and goes for an observer, not just only to scout his opponent, but also to be able to deny any kind of harass with the cloak ability in addition for the Protoss player. So that's actually smart by Hasu, and Select was able just to throw him maybe off a little bit from the strategy he would usually have chosen. And Select just going for the Destructive Rock, so trying to take this third, and you already mentioned the command center. It's nearly done, as is the +1 attack upgrade for the Marines, the Stim, and the Combat Shield.
Yeah, I really like the decision from Select, realizing, okay, there's some cannons in the line, let me go ahead and push out in field. He's done a fantastic job of denying information from HasuObs. HasuObs has an observer starting to push out in the field, and this is the first look he's going to get at anything that Select's doing. Banshee already in position to try to deny this Nexus. Not going to be able to kill the probe before it plants, and it looks like he's actually going to cycle all the way back towards the main. Just a single cannon to defend. It still should have some range, plus it has cloaking to deal with some troops. So HasuObs losing some probes early. It looks like now just going to work away at that pylon line and group repair there, or I'm sorry, group mining there from the rest of the probes. And while Select is doing this, he's also taking that natural expansion. Zelnaga Tower is providing some scouting. Another SCV scout pressing up. And now swinging around. Sorry, to do some damage there, taking out a pylon there at the natural. I think that was actually a cancellation. Sorry, go ahead.
The Twilight Council has been added by HasuObs, and he's researching Blink as we speak. And what's really nice to know is that Select just, he's probably just losing that Banshee. Yeah, losing that Banshee to the Stalkers. Nice job by HasuObs, and Select didn't pay attention to his Banshee at the left side of the map. But the Banshee was able to spot the Twilight Council, so he definitely knows about the Twilight Council. He's just upgrading his third base to an orbital to a planetary fortress, my bad. and adding a Ghost Academy as well. And at the entrance to his base, we can see a missile turret with a perfect placement so that he's actually aware of both entrances to his base and can detect any cloaked units if need be later on. But Hasu now adding even a second robotics facility, so he's apparently trying to use another strategy. He's maybe not really relying on those CTs, but might even add more Colossi as he originally intended to.
Yeah, I think he might be going for a quick rush and a quick switch to Colossi before Select is really able to press out and do some damage, using some Blink Stalkers and their high ability to be mobile, be just aggressive, and be destructive. And let's see if he blinks out into this natural expansion here. It looks like there's a siege tank providing some defense to the north, so being somewhat limited, but I like the micro from HasuObs, just taking the weak Stalkers and pressing to that back edge and then just cycling them in and out, doing a really fantastic job. That'll keep Select back for a moment, for basically the time it's going to take to get those Colossi up and running, 2 in production now. This is really the critical moments. There are the medevacs out in the air. There is a large Marauder army out on the ground. Will those Colossi get out in time before really engagement here? But I do want to mention this is Tal'Darim Altar. It tends to be less aggressive at this stage of the match. We are to the 3 base. This is really the critical moments here, is who can take map control out in the middle, who can establish additional territory, who can be the more mobile, who can deny basically additional resources to their opponent. So I really feel like this is going to be the next critical moments of this match.
And I really like the mix of Select, by the way. He already has 3 Ghosts in place, so he can use EMP on the Protoss player. And so far he was able just to put some pressure on Hasu and therefore change the strategy of the Protoss player, because HasuObs was going for Dark Templars, talked to him before the game, and now he has just to switch his strategy as he saw, okay, I have to add a robotics facility due to the pressure of my opponent with the Banshees. There might be Cloak coming, and therefore he went for a second one, for a second robotics, and is now adding Colossi. Right now there are already 2 on the field, 2 more in production, as well as the extended thermal lance. Charge is being researched, and Select is moving out. He's on 177 supply versus 166, moving out with his bio army, has 2 tanks in addition to his bio, and is now attacking the Protoss player, but HasuObs immediately retreating, just trying to blink in, get some shots off at those ghosts, but he can't kill them. Select is doing a good job just microing his units, and now Select is sieging up at the expansion of his opponent.
Yeah, just abusing that positional play. Looks like he's going to be able to stop those assimilators and cut off precious gas. Also elevating some troops in, so he might even be able to get some bonus damage with these Marauders and these Marines. Take out that cannon and just empty this natural expansion, forcing the engagement. HasuObs engaging on the low ground. It looks like he was able to get a lot of hits with those Colossi, where those siege tanks were off blinking, warping in some units with the pylon across that top, also trying to engage with that lower corner. No force fields to speak of. Those Zealots getting raked over. HasuObs now in retreat. Still 2 siege tanks at that corner. Select reinforcing and now backing off. Beautiful play. Has dealt a lot of damage to HasuObs and is on 150 supply. And we could see perfectly what HasuObs was talking about when he referred to Colossi being a real problem for a Protoss player against the Terran. As Select was doing exactly what Hasu was afraid of. He was dropping his expansion and therefore, as you already mentioned, forcing Hasu to attack. He had to choose between going to this expansion or just move in and try to kill the army of his opponent. And that's exactly the main problem of Colossi. They are very good at walking up and down cliffs, but they are very, very slow, and therefore it's a little bit tricky if the Protoss player is dropping you left and right just to move in and defend against. But right now HasuObs trying it once again. Charge is ready now. Immediately the Zealots charge in with Blink Stalkers, and HasuObs in a lot of trouble. All those Stim Marauders are just taking out all the Colossi, and this it has to be GG. Hasu dropping below 90 supply, and Select is on 145. This doesn't look very good. He's on 1-1 upgrades right now, the Terran player, and HasuObs at least has 2 armor upgrades, but still this looks really, really grim for the Protoss player from Germany. Yeah, even if Select backs off, he's got Vikings just obliterating those Colossi. That natural expansion was completely empty in the meantime. The Zealots getting whittled down in full retreat. Select still pressing troops forward, and HasuObs way out of this match economically. He took so much damage earlier just on flat probes. He really can't afford to chrono boost the Colossi out that he needs, or additional attack units to stop Select even on this next attack that might be incoming. Plenty of Vikings to deal with any Colossi that are out in the field, and it currently just what looks like a skeleton crew for HasuObs in full defensive posture. He does not have a lot of troops, and he's going to have to defend against a lot. Let's pretend that Select doesn't go in and finish the match at this stage, which is very likely actually. He still has map control, he can still expand, and he can still deny additional bases to HasuObs.
And HasuObs is going for a Dark Shrine, but I don't think that will do him any good because there are 2 orbital commands, and even if Select runs out of energy on those, then he can still use the EMP of his Ghost to detect the Dark Templar when they are warped in. So I don't think that those DTs will save the match for HasuObs. He's researching the +2 attack upgrade for his ground army as well, and is still trying to get even in the supply count. He's on 120 against 185, and Select also relying on upgrades even more. He's researching the +2 attack and armory upgrades for his bio army, and always trying to put some pressure on the Protoss player. He's in a superior position right now. He might even expand again, but at the moment he's just concentrating on building units, keeping his economy, his minerals, and his gas low, and he's doing a really good job at he's just max, so he's having a really huge army. He's on 121 army supply against 70, and that's a huge difference in the army strength of those 2 players.
Oh, looks like he's going to charge up that natural expansion. HasuObs is trying to get some Dark Templar out. He had a Dark Shrine in production, but unfortunately I don't think he's going to be able to field them in time. Stalker's trying to blink forward, get some Viking damage done. EMP on a lot of the troops there, though. Oh my goodness. Dark Templar is in the mix, but this is just a desperate battle for HasuObs.
Yeah, there are definitely not enough Stalkers to deal with those Vikings. The Vikings take out the Colossi, and has to blink away with the Stalkers. And now Select is moving in and is basically obliterating everything in his path. So HasuObs doesn't stand a chance against this army. He's trying to kill his opponent with a little bit of Myco, just blinking back, but he already lost his 2nd base. And even though there are not enough medivacs on the field, Select can just move in and kill everything. HasuObs using his probes, a desperate move by the German player. Another scan goes off to kill the DTs, and Hasu is writing GG and leaving the first game.
I gotta say, really well played by Select. Like you were talking about, forcing the unfavorable unit selection, basically forcing him to go Colossi, and I really gotta say, really well played by Select. I love his positioning on the map. I like how he pressed forward, really well timed, and I gotta say that was a really creative build on Tal'Darim Altar to open.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm really curious to see what HasuObs is going to do in the 2nd game. He had a plan, and he just couldn't go through with it, and had to rely once again on the Colossi, which he didn't want to do, and therefore he lost the game as Select reacted perfectly, and now HasuObs is in a lot of trouble, and he has to mix it up a little bit on the 2nd map.
Yeah, so we're going to move into Game 2. Hope you guys will join us there. Alright, guys, starting into Game 2, HasuObs versus Select. Select playing really well Game 1. I have to say, I really liked the build order. I liked everything he executed there. HasuObs is going to have his work cut out for him. We are moving on to Metalopolis. Tends to be more of a macro-oriented map. And I have to say, after Game 1, I'm not sure how HasuObs is going to be able to adjust versus Select in his aggressive play. In the meantime, looks like we have HasuObs starting at the 9 o'clock location as the yellow Protoss, 6 o'clock location. We have Select as the red Terran. Once again, I have Kalendor online with me.
Yeah, hey there. I already talked to HasuObs after the game, and his main problem is still that the Terran versus Proto matchup is really hard for him to deal with. It has been for the last few weeks, and he's not too happy about the current balance situation in this patch, and that's mainly why he doesn't really... Well, he thinks that it will be really hard to beat Select. For once, the last game he had to change his strategy a little bit, but another reason why he went for the Colossi instead of his original plan, just relying more on gateways and then go DTs, was that he saw that Select didn't use any Vikings, didn't have any Vikings in the field at first, but just with a stim, Select was able to take out his units, especially the Colossi, and that's one of the main problems that he has to deal with, and I'm not too sure what he's going to do on Metalopolis. It will be really hard for him, as Select is definitely one of the top Terran players out there, and this should be a really intense game between those two.
Yeah, particularly at close air positions where Select will have that air option. I know he can be very brutal with his Banshee play. Has a barracks off corner, so it doesn't look like he's going to go for a blockade, very standard versus Protoss. And unfortunately, again, HasuObs scouting to the north, so he's going to end up without a lot of information to start here against Select. Maybe he'll be able to reposition that probe and still get some information here in the mid.
Yeah, HasuObs is probably going to walk with this probe straight down now because he saw the scout of his opponent and definitely knows that Select is starting at the close air position. Taking his first gas right now and just adding his gateway as well. In the meantime, Select is scouting and is adding a barracks. Select is adding a barracks outside his main base. So that's a pretty interesting move, and he pulled off all those SCVs from the refinery as well, and just I was about to say it, to mention it, he's using 3 again to get some gas up and down.
Kind of an interesting hidden play. I assume this is going to be some sort of rush or pressure build, since he is hiding that barracks in that corner. Definitely not going to open up economy, and let's see if this probe is going to be able to scout it out from this corner. Marine just checking out this front door wants to... This is the thing. It's kind of an interesting thing where Select almost wants HasuObs to not go that direction, to go and scout in his base, and not and basically go look and check the information. He's actually going to chase with the Marine, perhaps in hopes that that probe will loop around, because he actually wants to reveal, hey, look, I'm only going 1 barracks, check out my natural expansion, and see that I don't have anything else going on. But in the meantime, he does have that barracks. Now that probe looping around, let's see if he is going to be able to dive in. I love this play from Select, very psychological. That Marine is going to run all the way around. Okay, checking that natural expansion, seeing nothing, walking in. He's going to see the tech lab, see that barracks running, and that Marauder should be able to play cleanup. I love this play from Select.
Yeah, really, really well done. Hasu added second gas in the meantime, so he's in 2 gas right now, and it has just 1 gate producing some stalkers, chrono boosting them, and Select already has his first Marauder out on the map, is researching concussive shell as we speak, adding a second Marauder, and Select also pulling off some SCVs to join his army, producing more and more Marines in the second barracks, and now just heading for the main base of his opponent. Army supply-wise, he's on 7-6, so not too big an advantage, but those stalkers will have a lot of trouble against the Marauders, and I'm not sure that HasuObs can really hold that push off because he doesn't have any sentries at all to use force fields. So this is quite a huge amount of trouble HasuObs is in right now. If Select is able to place a bunker there, then he should be able to win this game, but for now he doesn't have enough units to counter those 2 stalkers and the Zealot.
Yeah, I was about to say the lack of sentry might hurt there, but it looks like Select getting a bit too aggressive. HasuObs had plenty of troops to defend that now, and revealing his hand a bit early, getting 2 additional gateways in the meantime in the main, a command center to follow this up at a very defensive slot, and a 3rd barracks that will also have... actually, sorry, that's going to be the barracks floating back with that bunker, and we are going to see a Stargate.
Void Ray is nice.
I love this play from HasuObs. Yeah, he's okay, you're at close air positions, I'm at close air positions too. Let me go ahead and build a Void Ray off that failed initial attack and get a lot of damage done early, perhaps.
And look at the waypoint. Look at the waypoint of the Stargate. He might not even use it immediately, but just wait for a second one. If it doesn't reposition that waypoint, so far he doesn't rally his units or his Void Ray to the main base of his opponent, but he might just wait a little bit, because this 1 Void Ray won't be able to take out all of those Marines. Well, there are only 4 Marines so far, so with a little bit of micro he can actually deal a pretty good amount of damage. But if he has 2 Void Rays out, and that's exactly what he's going for right now, then Select will be in a lot of trouble, because he has no idea what's coming.
Oh, I love this play from HasuObs. And look at this, second defensive bunker that is really not going to help. For Select on the front door. He is actually very Marauder heavy at this stage. Only has 4 Marines to his name, and it's going to be a while before he can really produce enough. Basically, even the composition he needs to defend against is HasuObs as soon as that second Void Ray comes out. I assume, actually no, he's got the second Void Ray. He's going for a 3rd Void Ray now. Sweet. So going very air heavy. He's already got a pylon at proxy across that middle position, and it looks like he's going to swing around with the probe, getting another pylon along that right-hand side, now starting to press forward with this army. This is going to be very difficult for Select to deal with.
And this is pretty smart by HasuObs, and as soon as he's able to take out those Marines, Select will basically be done for. HasuObs should have gone for the main base itself, not with the gateway units, but he doesn't know that his opponent is playing that Marauder heavy, because right now he only has 6 Marines on the field. But now HasuObs moving in, using the Guardian Shield, immediately attacking the first bunker. There are a lot of SCVs of Select trying to repair, and Select getting some good shots off at those Stalkers, but from behind the 3rd Void Ray is just joining the Protoss army and annihilating the anti-air. The Void Ray already charged up, killing all those Marines, and Select doesn't have any anti-air defenses except for the Marines in this bunker, and HasuObs might lose the Void Ray charge up. He's actually attacking his own pylon in order to sustain the charge.
Wow. Continue to engage. The problem with their group repair is that bunker that just let all those Void Rays charge up. Their Air Marines pulling out. The barracks does have that that reactor on top of it to produce additional anti-air. Also desperately trying to get a turret on the front door. The missile turret looks like it will finish. Still an engagement on the front. It looks like the Marines are able to take out a both Void Rays. HasuObs loses his force. Select defends. Excellent play.
What the hell? I mean, have you seen that pretty amazing by Select? He was actually able to look at those Marines. All those Marines. There are 2 Marines with 1 hit point. And that was pretty amazing. I mean, he was able just to defend against all those Void Rays. I wouldn't have thought it possible, especially after HasuObs was able to charge up the attack of his air units, and then he was trying to kill all those Marines. HasuObs with some pretty good micro as well when he was able to rescue one of the Void Rays that was being attacked by the Marines. But in the end, Select had the upper hand, was just producing Marines in the barracks with this reactor and trying to get a missile turret up as well. So really good job by the Terran player, and I don't think that HasuObs will be able to recover from this blow to his economy, to his army, sorry.
Oh, Comsat Sentry dies before it's even able to get a force field on the ramp. In the meantime, Select going to push up the rest of the attack field, their track force, more sentries, but still plenty of army and base to take out that additional sentry. So as soon as his force field's down, he'll be able to march right up. Unfortunately, it's just Marauder on a Void Ray right there, but that Void Ray still in complete defense. This is the thing, is even if this attack is repelled by HasuObs, that natural expansion is still up and running. But wow! HasuObs taking the gold to try to recover in this match.
Really? I mean, it's the perfect thing to do. What else is he supposed to do? If he doesn't go for an expansion, he will lose the game, and Select expects him to go for another Nexus at his natural expansion. So this is the only chance that HasuObs really has, trying to get a superior economy and then deciding the game in his favor. But now he has to pay attention to his Void Ray. There are a lot of Marines. They're already stimmed, and HasuObs is able to retreat with that Void Ray with 20 HP. And well, Select isn't really scouting. Oh, now he's moving one of his Marines to the Xel'Naga Watchtower, and will probably see the expansion of his opponent. No, actually he doesn't just yet, because the probe is still around, but now he knows about the Nexus. HasuObs is sliding some probes over, but Select will attack very soon and try to take out that second base of the Protoss player. And if he succeeds in doing so, then I don't think HasuObs will be able to get back into this game.
Wow. So HasuObs desperately needs to hold on this gold expansion. I'm not sure if Select saw it or not. I think he did. I think he might have seen those probes, in the line. Looks like he has. He's starting to stage forward. HasuObs does have a stalwart defense. He's an Immortal. He has a Void Ray. He has 2 sentries and a couple Zealots as well. But wow, Select pulling off the line, bringing all of his SCVs as well. So this almost reminds me of the opening of this match. This is turning into an absolutely crazy game. Select grouping up. He wants to engage. It looks like HasuObs realizes this engagement point. Actually, he was just trying to clear that Xel'Naga Watchtower. Now the engagement, the SCVs dealing with those Zealots, pinning them back. The sentries being, I think he actually targeted his own Void Ray, ended up losing the Void Ray as a result. Now Probes coming off the line to try to provide some additional offense. Immortal down, Probes getting annihilated, and Select still has a standing arm builder. It's very, very weak because it's just been stim-packed so many times. Zealots warping in, Probes actually getting a handful of kills here just because, again, so much stim-pack, but Select with a gigantic Marine Marauder army still standing. It looks like he's going to be able to take out what is left of this gold base. If he can take that pylon out, I assume that's GG, there's GG from HasuObs. Crazy match. HasuObs doing his best, but I have to hand it to Select, able to dispatch HasuObs and take it 2-0. I got to give credit to HasuObs, though. Really well played. And that was, I got to say, great match. That's a way to open it right there.
Yeah, that was really amazing play by Select. HasuObs did pretty well, and in the end he actually had a more army supply than his opponent. What I didn't really like about the last fight in terms of the Protoss player was that he didn't really micro his Immortals all too well, as he was targeting Marines with the Immortals. I mean, I don't think that he would have won. Well, he might have won the fight if he had just tried to take out all those Marauders. It's, of course, a little bit easy to say if you're not playing yourself, so that's a really tough thing to do if you're in the midst of a battle like that. But HasuObs, well, he did a good job against Select, but the Terran player was just way better today. So he definitely took this win, and, well, deservedly so.
So coming up next, we have Kitty versus Cats. Thanks again for being alongside Kalendor. It was really, Goody versus Cats. I had a little bit of trouble hearing it in the mic. Thank you for being alongside Kalendor. It was absolutely fantastic casting with you. Hope you guys enjoy his casting. Check him out. Do you have any shout-outs, actually, you wanted to give Kalendor?
Actually, I would like to say hi to one of my friends, Alex.
Alex. So hello to Alex. Going to move on to Goody versus Cats, match 2. Thanks for listening, guys.